I belong here. I don't think I fit in.
Oh, nonsense. Of course you do.
No, I mean it. I mean it. It's just somebody must have goofed if I gotta stay here another day.
Peace! It's Professor Griff, public enemy, the ex-minister.
Which means it's too strong.
Doing? Peace, peace, peace. How's everyone doing? It's Professor Griff. And of course, you'll already know this is Serious Minds, RNTV. Peace, Quan, what's good? Positive Soul, what's happening? Tina Ray. We got a few people in the building. Thanks for your support. Thanks to everybody on IG. And of course, you'll already know this is Professor Griff. And I got a guest coming up, my good brother. I always refer to this brother as the brother that knocked on my coffin when I was in Japan. I took his work with me as I often travel with a lot of material. I had some time on my hands. On the tour bus. I was on tour at that particular time. And I got some time to go over this brother's work. Came back to the United States on fire, hooked up with that brother, and we've been locked in ever since. But it took me to have this brother knock on my coffin. Not that I was dead, not that I was in a horizontal plane. I think I got polarized and neutralized to a degree by some of the things that was going on in my spirit and in my mind, still being enthralled into this whole music industry thing and on that conveyor belt, so to speak. And you know how you become this intellectual hamster on the wheel, spinning your wheels, trying to figure your way out. But a lot of times, if you're in it, you can't get out of it. A lot of times when you're on the outside looking in, it takes someone with a different perspective. This brother definitely had a different perspective, and it's a beautiful thing. So for that, I want to give the brother his flowers while he's still on the planet in the physical. Shout out to Black Dot. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you. About to bring my brother on. All right. Peace. Dot, what's good with you, man?
Man, everything is great, man. I appreciate the intro as always. And it just kind of reflects on how you knocked on my coffin to get this whole process started. And so to hear that I was able to return something, because that's what it's really all about, you know what I'm saying, to get you re-energized.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Say that, get you re-energized. It's an honor to, you know what I'm saying, be a part of the history that we've made and continue to make on this journey that we are on.
Oh, give thanks, man. So tonight, well, it was Monday night, I believe, that I wanted to do a talk about they cloned Tyrone. And then what happened was I wrote notes down and I lost the notes as I was turning 63 years old yesterday. So I had to laugh about it live on the air. I'm scrambling trying to find the notes. I couldn't find them. So I had to wing it. And then I thought about you and I said, okay, well, I'm going to come back on Wednesday night and maybe I can ask Black Doc to come on with me. So I got my notes. Here we are. Not that the notes really mean anything, because once we get into the dialogue, other things may come up.
Absolutely.
All
Well,
right,
first of all, happy belated solar return. Again, an amazing accomplishment to still be on your feet, rocking hard, doing what you do, man. And it's okay. You're 63. You get your memory a little.
I'm taking this, man. Serious Mind Brain Tonic.
I'm gonna get some of that.
Yeah, just text me your address. I'm gonna send you some. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna bring you some because I'll be in New York this weekend. I'm going to the Rock the Bells in Queens.
Oh, yes, yes.
I'm going to help out Sha Rock. Remember she told me she wanted me to come through?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to help out Sha Rock. So shout out to Sha Rock. All right.
Yes.
So let the people know who you are, man. Real quick, give a brief, idea. Let the people know who you are. Give a brief description of you, your show, what you do with your son, the whole bit.
Yes, Black Dot, writer, author, poet, MC, signed to B-Boy Records with KRS-One, the label KRS-One made famous in 1987, released my first album, Tall, Dark, and Handsome with some of my homies, from the neighborhood. Went on tour as the hype man for Tim Dog, who did the whole F Compton thing. And a lot of people don't give him any credit for, throwing shots on the West Coast because he became big with Tupac and Biggie. So he took me around the world. And as a hype man going around the world, getting to see the condition that our people was in, but how important hip hop and instrumental it could be. When I came back, I started an independent label called Bib Records, Black Independent Brothers. I put out a project called A&R Killer, which was aimed. It never came out. It's still in the vault. Aiming at people who knew nothing about the culture. And if you play it today, most of it is still relevant. And so along that time, my second son was born, Malcolm, who I co-host the show with. And I needed a regular job, man. So I took a job as a bus operator. But my love for the culture didn't stop there. I ran into some elders, some teachers, Phil Valentine, Bobby Hammett, Dick Gregory, Steve Coakley, C. Freeman L. The list goes on and on of elders who began to open my eyes, reopen, because remember, Public Enemy, Brand Nubian, KRS-One, Poor Righteous Teachers were putting it in the music. So, I was RBG'd up and all of that. But being able to sit quietly for 8, 9, 10 hours at a time to get these downloads and not be in prison to have to do it. That's when brothers mostly want to, sit down and learn. I wasn't forced to do it. So I was learning. And as I looked around, I realized that what these elders were teaching was important for the next generation, but it needed to be palatable and put in a format in which my hip hop brothers and sisters could understand. And so I created the moniker called the Black Dot, because in hip hop, you come up with your alternate identity and things of that nature. And so I took on that name after studying Dr. Richard King's work, Peace to the Elder, and him explaining what the Black Dot was spiritually. And I said, well, this is perfect. And so I began with a bunch of music mixes. And I was putting Bobby Hammett and Phil and Henry D. Bonato over break beats, feed it to the young brothers and sisters slowly. And a brother named Shabazz, who I had started doing lectures with and flying these elders in and giving them a platform to teach, he was begging me to do something on hip hop. He said, Doc, you got to do something because the way you're breaking it down, I haven't heard. And so they finally kind of gassed me up, and I sat down, and that's the one of the DVDs you saw when you were in Japan. That was the beginning process of beginning to teach this hip hop to a new generation, but fusing in the metaphysics, the occult, the numerology, astrology, all of the things that the enemy was using that we just weren't privy to in the grand scheme of things. And so when you called and said, yo, I need you to come open up for me in Harlem, it began a journey. And to give you your flowers, you were the only one that took me all around the country, no matter what, even if you couldn't get paid.
Right.
You took me around the country. You opened up these platforms because you felt what Black Dot had to say was important. And it was dudes in Harlem who do lectures who never even brought me in to this day.
Wow.
And so as crazy as that may sound, and so I'm forever grateful. So whenever Griff call, I don't care what I'm doing, I drop everything and I'm available to, to come and support what it is that you do, because when everyone else wavered, you never wavered, even from the Public Enemy days. And
Oh,
so
great.
I know what it is that you do is true and you stand on your square. And for me, integrity in that aspect is very important. And the rest is history. So now I sat down with my son, who just began to ask me a bunch of questions. I said, turn the camera on, man. You know what I mean? At that age, and he began to ask me questions, and it morphed into a father and son podcast in which I get now in the realm of eldership to just relax, tell some jokes, have some fun, put the food, the medicine in the food in ways that is clever, outlandish, funny, off the rails. And so to cloak it, because these artificial intelligent bots are always looking to shut us down in ways. And so we have to reinvent ourselves, and the rest is history.
Oh, thanks. Really appreciate that. Really, and we really appreciate you being very candid and very real with us. That kind of stuff is needed right now. So shout out to Sonetta, because Sonetta took the chance. He says, "Yo, Griff, come on up, man." Yada yada yada. Shout out to King Simon. Shout out to all the individuals. Curtis. What was Curtis's name? Curtis Cost. No, Curtis. Dang, I forget your name, Curtis. I'm sorry about that, bro. Curtis had me on his show. Curtis used to do,
He wrote the book?
No, Curtis used to do some metaphysical stuff. He had me on his show. That's when people first heard that I had linked up with you and I was doing this Illuminati thing, yada, yada, yada.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, let's dive into this thing. They cloned Tyrone, man. Let's just kind of dive into it. I did something on Monday. My born day was Tuesday. Thanks to everybody for giving me some well wishes on my born day. There was a lot of people that hit me up. My daughter's birthday is today, Takia Shah. Shout out to Chuck D's birthday was yesterday. Kumo D. My nephew, Swally Lee. There's about 8 people's birthday that was yesterday. So shout out to all the Leos. This is that lion season, man. That lion energy.
Lion season, yes.
So anyway, they cloned Tyrone. Give me your idea when you first saw the movie. What was your take, man? Just real short, that we can go back and forth.
Well, I wasn't gonna see it at first because I just thought it was a direct slap in our face, and they were making fun of us in reference to what Jamie Foxx was going through as well. But then people called me and said, "Doc, you need to see this movie." And so I watched it, and then I went right on my show last week and just kind of gave a brief overview. I know KT, the arts degree, he did an extensive piece on Black Magic 363. And so it became very important for us to discuss the multiple layers that were in this movie and how it was echoing reality and how art was imitating life and life was imitating art, with Jamie Foxx reappearing, with the rumors of clones, him being cloned and something, and him reappearing right before the movie came out. It sparked my interest. And so when I watched it with an open mind, and I could see so many different avenues of how we are the clones. You know what I mean? And social media and social engineering, the way so few can control so many is to create archetypes that like a video game, and they play the video game based on these characters of drug dealers, hustlers, rappers, twerkers, women, sex, the Chinese restaurant, the church, and all of the components. And it also reminded me of my book, Urban Culture Decoded, which was the second book that I wrote after Hip Hop Decoded. See, I wrote Hip Hop Decoded, but I wanted to write Urban Culture Decoded to lay out the background, which gives birth to shit like hip hop. So I spoke about the church, the barbershop, the liquor store, the Chinese restaurant, the ball court, all of these things that keep us running almost in perpetual place. And who's in control of that? You know what I mean? So I thought that was my general response.
Okay. So now let's get a deeper understanding and do a deep dive. The whole idea of this stereotypical archetype, or just archetype, of the pimp, the drug dealer, and the prostitute. Why do you think towards the end of the movie they collaborated with one another and they galvanized the brothers and sisters in the hood to go back down deeper in the underground, which is significant to something else. We'll get to that because it has to do with the chakras and that kind of thing. We'll talk about that in a second. So they went underground inside of a trap house. Imagine that.
Yes.
All right, let it marinate for a minute, y'all. They went underground already in a trap house, already in the hood. You understand what I'm saying? But the hood got together. Can you imagine that? The pimp, the drug dealer, and the prostitute became the leaders?
Yes. Crazy.
Became the revolutionaries?
But it's weird because in our everyday life, our young people look up to the trap dealer, the trap house. They look up to the pimp and the hustler due to financial strife. And so the real revolutionaries, because they're not sort of producing what appears to be tangible. See, when poverty is your religion, money is your God. And so all of the people who are using money become the preachers and reverends of the money. And so they're telling you, you're just trying to get out of strife. And the hustler, the pimp, the rapper, all of these people sort of represent salvation for you, or at least you think. And so in the movie, all that they did was say that these would be the people subconsciously who are going to lead you out, and we know otherwise, because these people are leading you back down the same path. But for cinematic reasons, they made it seem like, oh, just imagine if the pimps and the hustlers finally woke up. So there are layers to it too. If they finally woke up to realize they too have been played, what it could amount to. So if the hustler go, wait a minute, all I'm doing is killing my own people. And if the pimp going, wait a minute, the Black Queen is the ultimate. Imagine if I stopped doing that, and if the Queen said, wait a minute, I'm the mother of civilization. God damn.
Right, exactly.
The potentiality of that would be through the roof. So they're always talking, in my humble opinion, to multiple people based on where you're resonating at.
Right.
So if you're on top of your game, you can see the multiple layers. But if you just go to be entertained, you leave out still where they picked you up at. They drop you off in the same place.
Right. So let's break down a few characters. Shout out to Jewel Taylor, the director and the writer. Shout out to Boyega, John Boyega, Tiana Paris, and Jamie Foxx. Of course, y'all know them in the film as Fontaine. Jamie Foxx was Slick Charles and Yo-Yo. Interesting kind of names. We'll talk about that in a second. But the old man, what did he represent, man? What did he just throwing that at you?
The old man, okay. They say when an elder dies, a library is burned to the ground. And so for him to be on that corner, seeing it all replicate itself over and over again is significant, because we have a tendency in our culture, we don't revere the elder like in ancient cultures, Chinese, and because they know there's so much wisdom there. And a lot of times we get caught in the physical failures or shortcomings of some of these elders, but some of these elders are very wise, and they've been through enough and they've seen enough, but they don't have the energy now, because it's older men for war and it's younger men for war, older men for counsel. Right. And so the counsel, you know what I'm saying, is with the eldership. And so he represented, and he kept dropping certain clues. You know, the further we go back, the more we connect with self. And so every time homie came out the store, you know what I mean? He gave an offering, you know what I mean? An offering. And within that offering, that elder was able to deliver something to him, but it's up to him to decode it and figure it out exactly what the elder's talking about, because the elders like, be quiet. They see and hear everything. Right. And so I have to speak to you in code, so to speak. So you can figure this thing out.
So every time that he died and came back, He went and he came past the elder after he did the scratch off, threw the scratch off the way because he was always losing. So then he poured the liquor in the cup as a let me just say it like this. Maybe it was a subconscious libation that he was pouring for himself.
Yes.
And maybe he saw himself in the elder, but because part of him had died.
Yes.
That's just my take on it. So
that's a great take. Yep.
Where was the revolutionary in all of this? Did they even have one? Was nobody speaking? Normally, there's always that one person, like Radio Raheem or somebody that was that that speaks truth and knowledge. Yeah.
And so I was looking, and I've only seen the movie once. I really need to see it again. So I didn't see one individual other than the sister who, even in what her occupation was, so to speak, was awakened by certain things going on. So they all were having trigger moments, so to speak, due to what was going on. And at the end of the day, we are all one, and so we have to have a collective mindset. You know what I'm saying, to really get ourselves out of a situation. Because if I figure something out, but the person I live right next door to is still in the dark, then I'm still in the dark. You know what I mean? Because we have to kind of move. Now, that doesn't mean everyone is going to elevate at the same time. It just means, we are all moving as one. And so I didn't see one individual who was just sort of like in the movie Undercover Brother, where you had, Dave Chappelle was clearly like, look, y'all niggas got to wake up. You know what I'm saying? Right. White man is doing this, doing that. So I thought the movie just kind of unfolded and laid out, in pieces, breadcrumbs so that we could wake up on our own and come to a certain point in the movie.
Right. So all of this took place in a place called the Glen. Now, I got a text message from a Kenya Harris from Stockton, California, and she said, Griff, the Glen basically is basically just a narrow valley. That's what the definition of a glen is. I said, wow. Okay, that adds another layer to it, because if all of this is happening, almost like the place was looking like a throwback kind of like a washed out version of what any hood could look like.
Yes.
They just called it the Glen, and all of these particular things happening. So as you mentioned earlier, there's different ways out of the hood. Either you got a wicked jump shot, as Biggie said, you understand what I'm saying? Or you're going to sell drugs and get your way out, or you're going to go to college, or you're going to do either that, sports, or you're going to be a rapper, an actor, or whatever. And they portrayed all of these particular things. But the things that were keeping them in was portrayed by these stereotypical kind of characters, the pimp, the drug dealer, and the prostitute, which they only highlighted 3 of them. And it almost seems like one was feeding off the other in reference to our detriment.
Yes.
I pointed out the fact that when Fontaine did get shot, because he had beat up and took money and took some other stuff from one of the drug dealers' workers out in the street, the worker killed Fontaine, the crippled worker. And that's very significant. Do you understand what I'm saying? We'll talk about that in a second. But nonetheless, Fontaine lost his life over a drug deal, so to speak, which is very typical in the hood. That represented the idea of the black on black crime.
Yes.
The other aspect of the black on black crime happened inside of the trap house under the ground, where the experiments were taking place. Inside of the padded cell, they were fighting one another.
Yes.
And I guess at that point they decided, I said, you know something, we need to kind of come together if we're going to get out of this situation dealing with these mad scientists, only to find out that the mad scientist was at the end was him.
The whole time. You know what I'm saying? Which means, it means so many different things, but you are fighting against you.
Right.
In the ultimate battle. You know what I mean? And so everything outside of you becomes an illusion and a distraction. So go read the book, The Alchemist. All the things you are chasing
Right.
are right in front of you the whole goddamn time.
Right, exactly.
And so there's your higher self and your lower self, and you can choose to resonate on either one. But until you conquer you or embellish you or reach the highest level of you, you are going to be to your own detriment. And I tell people this all the time. If you go to work the same way, you stop at the same Dunkin' Donut, you meet the same people, you do the same things, you are writing a script. You're writing your own pattern in your own script, and nothing changes if nothing changes. And so you're wondering why you're living in this loop, and you're blaming people outside of yourself for keeping you here, but you haven't written any new code. You drive the same route, you're telling the same jokes with the same people at the same job, you're mad at the same supervisor, you come home, eat the same Popeyes, you're doing the same exact things. And the longer you do it, the more that program is reinforced. And so one day you go, wow, I just killed myself. Right. You know what I mean? I just, buried myself in the grand scheme of things. Very deep stuff. Very deep stuff.
So I said on Monday that the clones are already walking among us, not the zombies, the clones, because you remember we went through a period of time where everybody wore white tees.
Yes.
That was just a governmental program set in motion. Cats on the corner, easy to spot. The snipers, easy to spot them because everybody got white tees.
Yes.
Now we're going through a thing where everybody got beards.
Yep.
And we can mark time with these clones that we see in the hood all the time. We went through a time period where everyone wanted to lock their hair.
Yes.
So everybody I guess wanted to be Rasta and knew absolutely nothing about it.
Yes.
I'm not saying that for the true brothers that's Rasta. You understand what I'm saying? So the cloning thing was happening, it happens all the time in the hood. So let me say this. The idea of assimilation is better than annihilation, which is the overall theme of the movie. The movie starts out with you see the white, blue-eyed white man looking over the hood, looking and spying on everyone. And then the slogan says, unity starts here. Striving, I think it says striving to work towards peace. All right. Basically, it's our only solution, and unity starts here. But it starts out with the initial shot in film where it shows you the white man and it pans back. So let you know from that point on, you can ask the question, assimilation is better than annihilation. So is it? I said Monday that when you assimilate, you were already annihilated because you've assimilated into someone else.
Absolutely. And you assimilate based on your mindset and everything that around you becoming the same thing, and you trying to be something other than what self is. Every time you try to become other than self, you lose a portion of self. And so you begin to annihilate your true essence, the true, vibration in which you have come here, the body of work that you came to do, etc., etc., etc. And so this is very deep because you mentioned the cloning when every rapper sounds the same.
Exactly. That was my next point.
Every a woman, every female hip hop artist looks the same. You know what I'm saying? And then now with social media, these images can spread further and faster. And so the assimilation is in a quantum mode. It's moving very fast now, where we're from an era where you could not sound or look like anybody else.
Exactly.
Very important. And so they could not have this because too many different thoughts, ideas, and concepts come out of that. We need to control a large masses of people by having them think and look the same. Now, and then we give them a device to spy on themselves, the social media and the phone. And when someone goes against the rhythm or against the algorithm of assimilation, it's easier to identify. And so we have a rogue idea coming out of a certain amount of people, but it's easier to attack them and bring them back because we're going to use the people who, they love the most and are trying to help to be the ones to bring them down.
That's deep.
No, it's crazy.
So the whole idea of the genes being separated in order to start the cloning process. I looked at some of the things like the grape juice and the other things and the perm, the chemicals being in the perm, and then the goddamn chicken. That's what it was called, fam. I'm not being disrespectful. It was called the goddamn chicken and this kind of thing. It was part of the plot and the plan to separate 378 genes. And the first one that was cloned to start the process, I noticed it said the A001, which was the first clone, which was Fontaine.
Yes.
And Fontaine, the older Fontaine, was talking to the younger Fontaine, and that's when it hit me, because I looked at the images behind the older Fontaine when they was having a conversation with Chester, who was another Fontaine. Three of them in the room. The Trinity was in the room having the conversation while there was the prototypes behind them, and it ultimately being a white man. Yes. So the whole cloning Tyrone thing was to clone a black man into the white man. They reversed Yakub's theory.
I'm getting ready to drop the mic right now because I was getting ready to go right there with it. It reminded me of a story I was told about a great scientist by the name of Yakub.
Right.
He kept grafting and grafting and using lighter genes. So in the concept of the movie, the more white you thought and the more white this one thought, we can put that together and we can accelerate a process based on removing your melanated energy and your melanated mindset.
Right.
So we get to a point and have the ultimate, which is, Yakub in the flesh.
Exactly. So the idea of what the messenger taught us about they tried to graft themselves back to the original people.
Yes. Yes. Well, if you can graft yourself out, just scientifically speaking, they probably feel they can graft their way back in. And so while you saw the white dudes in the hood with afros, working in the chicken spot, working as DJ, this was the template of, what we're trying to do. And we're going to start with the melanated hair, the non-ether energy, the aesthetics of it. And we're trying to work our way back. But in the meantime, we're trying to work you away.
Right, exactly. So let's get a little bit deep and talk about the scene that happened in the church. Now, what song was going on? What song was being played?
Oh, I didn't get that deep. Tell me. Yes.
I think it was Back That Thing Up.
Oh, inside the church?
Inside the church, yeah. David Allen Greer was the pastor or the preacher. And they was having a good time in the church. The whole time they were being monitored and recorded, because underneath the church was one of the laboratories.
Yes.
Because the church, the trap house, the church, these kind of places, they knew that black people come together, all right, yes, whether for good or bad. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we got to understand this particular dynamic. They chose these particular places to set up. The corner store was another place that they set up one of the laboratories. You understand what I'm saying? They got to see if the juice, the Kool-Aid is going to work. Now, we know that the science and the history, not the science, but the history of Jim Jones taking our people out there and everybody drinking a Kool-Aid.
And that's a metaphorical term we use in the hood anyway. Man, stop drinking the Kool-Aid, man.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Which means get off that bull. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
All right. So then the thing that was happening in the church was, if you listen to the dialogue that was going on, David Allen Greer, I don't forgot the name of his character in the movie in the church, but he basically said that God wants what? And then it was silence, and he says obedience.
Mm-hmm.
Obedience. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I think they were speaking to the subconscious mind of David Allen Greer, who was the preacher, to let the congregation know you have to be obedient. When we say dance,
you dance.
You know, and the song that was on was Back That Thing Up, meaning moving your consciousness backwards. But deeper than that, when the DJ put the song on in the strip club scene, it was the people were dancing, they were spinning, but in reverse.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Reversing your whole idea of your consciousness, reversing your thought about yourself, reversing your progress, reversing your history. Everything that you thought you knew about yourself, you didn't know. simply because you under this mind control, this governmental mind control experiment that we have you under right now. And as long as you keep going to church, eating the chicken, getting your hair dyed, fried, and combed to the side, participating in the whole idea of murdering and killing yourself, whether you're the prostitute, the pimp, the drug dealer, or whomever, we got you. We need obedience from you. Now listen, none of them was in the hood except two white dudes, the DJ and Kiefer Sutherland, who was Nixon.
Yes. Yes.
And the whole hood called the Glen was being controlled. How do you think they did that? Or do that?
Again, we speak a lot, and I'm grateful nowadays that the very term conspiracy theorist and theory doesn't carry the same negative connotation it did 25 years ago, Griff, when we started a lot of this journey. And so for us, it was unfortunate because we were ahead of our time and explaining to people that we are at war on multiple levels. So there is an internal, external, and spiritual attack and psychological attack that we are constantly under. And so through the food, there is an attack. Through what women put in their hair, which represents their consciousness and brain, is under attack. The very music that we listen to is an attack. When you go to church, because whether you believe in Christ or not, you're going not naively because you're looking for spiritual acceptance and awareness, and that is under attack. And so it was showing that we are under attack on multiple levels. So when we speak about how we're going to get out of a situation, we have to look at its collective, attack on us. And I thought the movie did a great job of just putting that stuff out there to let you know, okay, you're eating better, but are you thinking better? Are you listening to better music? Well, what kind of music are you eating? What kind of knowledge are you ingesting? And so it's a constant war because we are multidimensional beings, and you can't just stop us one way, because we will find other ways to reemerge and continue our move forward and fight. And so everyone is relevant in the game of life. If this is a video game and you have the NPC characters, the non-player characters, and then you have the significant players of the hustler, the pimp, the reverend, the man at the church, this, that, they play significant roles in keeping a large amount of people running in circle and not understanding just how significant this war is that we are facing.
Right. In the strip club, the DJ was white, and I think he made a comment about the people in the strip club need to be a slave to the rhythm.
Yes.
What rhythm is he talking about?
Wasn't our rhythm. I remember they put so much stuff in the music itself, extremely low, extra low frequencies. The subconscious mind is so we can hear so much more than in the conscious mind. That third ear, in which levels of direct messages is poisonous. And so, when you speak of Ra's hymn or rhythm, as we say, they have co-opted so much in how they understand our melanin, because Dr. Leola Africa said the only true science is the science of melanin. And if that's the case, then the only attack can be from a melanated standpoint, whether it's the sun, whether it's the music, whether it's the water, whether it's the air, whether it's the food, whether it's sonically, whether it's visually, it's all going to relate back to melanated beings in some, capacity or another.
When you heard the word that triggered him into his subconscious, not his subconscious, his hypnotic state, when they controlled his mind, it was Olympia Black. When I first heard that, I thought of Greek sororities. I thought of the Black Greek sororities when I heard Olympia Black. And I just said to myself, I'm going to look deeper into that, because I started thinking of the cognitive dissonance. Because when everybody in the strip club started chasing him, and then they stopped, and the white man got out of the car with Chester, he gave a long, drawn-out speech about what America ain't going for.
Yes.
America basically want to keep America white.
That's right. That's a fact.
Right.
And it's funny, Griff, because you mentioned like the trigger words. For us, certain trigger words will turn your own people against you. So anti-Semitic is a trigger word.
Right.
And so if you come out against that energy and you have undisputed fact that this is what it is, they can drop a trigger word and freeze your people. And your people will freeze and turn the energy away from the truth that you speaking. And now they coming to attack you. Transphobic. These are trigger words that freeze people who would normally be moving forward because they know what the truth is. But these trigger words will stop you in your track and not have you look at the perpetrator, but look at the people who are trying to awaken you. So that was the vibe, I got for that. And a white man can put everybody at halt and deliver a message and then unfreeze them and have them carry on with their lives.
Right. So much so that he gave his speech and they was under a deep mind control. He made him put the own gun in his mouth.
Yes.
That was a deep scene right there, man.
Absolutely.
So Monica Mitchell wants to know, what about the mom in the room that was never there the whole time? He was bringing food, symbolic food to his mom, asking his mom, is she all right? And she was just giving the same answer every day.
Well, if he's a clone, then he doesn't have a mom. You know what I mean? And so his remembrance of a mom in his subconscious mind. So when we speak about closed doors and closed closets, we're talking about stuff we bury in our subconscious. So to me, that was subconscious of his slight remembrance of a mom, but because he himself was a clone, his only mom was himself based on how many times he was replicated. And so that was sort of the vibe I got from that, you know what I mean? And,
Doc, I don't mean to cut you off. Hold on, press the pause button, because I got to say this because I'm going to lose it. So the door was constantly closed when he was trying to connect back to the mother archetype, or the mother, the ma, all right, the essence, the universe, the dark matter, the carbon. But then he was the same one to put the gun to the scientist's head that had him unlock all of the doors. Talk to me, man.
Deep stuff, man. And so that essence of it even goes on a whole nother level of him trying to reconnect with self on the most spiritual and subconscious level. Because every time they went down, we know that represents subconscious. Right. It represents underground. It represents, where the true information will lie, because nothing ever truly lies on the surface. And it proves and just demonstrates you got to go deep. The shadow work is deep work within self. You know what I'm saying? And then when we got down and saw what they were doing, when you come back out of that stupor, you should have a new understanding and awareness of just how deep this war is and what it's going to take to fight on these levels. And so, you know what I'm saying? All of these things play a role in that. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So when I looked at it, and I just said to myself, wow. When Jamie Foxx with the hood behind him came to the store and said, listen, I'm going to need you to open up the yada, 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 so they can, the elevator, so they can get to the underground. I think they felt comfortable being in the underground. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because that's where they were used to being, in the hood, in the underground, underestimated. They was used to being, exactly, the underworld. And the battle took place in the underworld.
Yes.
Yes. So then help me out with this, because I'm trying to understand this. So the battle took place in the underworld when they came up out of the underworld and ended up in Cali. They went west, trying to get back to Memphis. What was in Memphis? And then why did they reveal who Tyrone was on the West Coast? Talk to me.
Whoa. So that part of the movie kind of stuck me for a second. Understanding what Memphis spiritually means to us. You know what I'm saying? That land of the kings and a time when we were truly great. And the West Coast representing Western consciousness. You know what I'm saying? Western ideas, Western philosophy, all of these things in the West, which have sort of corrupted us. But to me, it also represented Kanye West. You know what I'm saying? In a weird way, because we also see that this is not who he was when he first emerged. And so, but the part of that also was weird was when everybody who started taking pictures and making fun and slight of, they cloning us, man. The condition that our people are in now, our people don't take anything serious anymore. Right. You know what I mean? So we could be on the verge of extraterrestrial or whatever, but all of this information that's coming out about who's attacking us, who is corrupt, the energy of the people has stayed so even keel because we've been desensitized to so much that once we do find out that we've been cloned or that the truth is revealed, how many of our brothers and sisters are really going to take it serious? So through all of that journey, that, going underground, re-emerging with the truth to finally deliver to the people, what did the people in the West do with that information but make mockery of it? You know what I'm saying? Also to illustrate, you niggas ain't never gonna get out of this, because even after we deliver the truth to you, you still not doing nothing with it. And that's the frustrating part for me, knowing you bring truth to people and you realize that it's not the truth because the cognitive dissonance supersedes all of that, or social media has made it where it's all a joke, man. If I see alien, man, I'm just gonna hang out with a man, and oh man, they poisoning this, man. None of that stuff, man. I'm just, let me get a photo, man. And they gauge our people based on our reaction to stuff. Because based on the stuff that has been dropped on us in the last 2 years, Professor, we are supposed to be in the street wilding out. Yeah. And we're not. Everyone is still docile. So when we reemerge from underground through Memphis to be reinitiated into our science, to know who we are and reemerge in a Western hemisphere, you know what I'm saying? Right, exactly. We are going to be in the same place we left. And that's how social engineering works. And that's how cloning works. Wherever you go, there you are. You know what I mean? And so this thing is very, very deep.
Right. I got a couple of more things, but I want you to give people your Cash App so that the people that's getting this can actually support us. My Cash App is $ Professor Griff. Quanah put it up. $ Professor Griff. What's yours, good bro?
Mine's is $ the black dot, all one word.
The black dot, $ the black dot. And Quan already know mine. All right, so let me ask you this. So now, Quan put up the Olympia Black is a sci-fi writer, and her most popular book to date is My Human Pet. That's very interesting. So let me ask you something. So is America an experiment? Is this a criminal enterprise? And is America an experiment? Are we all in a simulation playing these roles? Am I, Professor Griff, the artist, the revolutionary in the hip hop group that's just playing a role?
Griff, that is a deep question, and sometimes I fight with it all the time. Like, are we all playing roles that we emerge of, out of ourselves, or was I put here to play this role at this particular time? Because we know how, even in assimilation, if you're controlling people, you have to control both aspects. There are going to be the dissatisfied. And how do we make sure that the dissatisfied don't move too far left or right? And so we are emerging, or is it based on each and every one of us has an equal opportunity to, emerge during this process, and based on how much we know and what our personal fight is, we manifest, because we're all projections, ain't none of us here. We manifest in the role that we want to play to move humanity forward or keep humanity staying still. And so there's service to self, and then there's service to others. And so service to self is that rewarding monetary a process in which, forget everybody, I got to get mine. And service to others is where you are giving of yourself in hopes that others can reap the benefits of what you've learned, what you've experienced, and what you know. And so it becomes a battle sometime to go, geez, are you serious? You know what I mean? And so that's a very deep question, because if this is a video game, what role am I playing in the game? If this is a simulation, and see, I don't want people to think simulation in terms of bad, because if the omnipresence has provided us with avenues to learn itself, then each and every one of us has the potential to teach God about itself through our own personal experiences. And those experiences can't always be one way, because how would we know if there was only left? How would we know about right? And so each and every person has the potential to experience something, and that's with no interference. Once we start talking about Yakub and mind control and manipulation and poison and this and that and trafficking and all of the things that are put in place to thwart you off your path, that's a whole nother lecture that we may get to a whole nother time.
Well, when you and I were in the Bronx recently, we said we was going to do something at least once or twice a month.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? And I put it up under the banner of the ATM, Arm the Masses, but you and I will talk about that. Listen, a few seconds ago, I misspoke. It was Dubsack that said Olympia Black is a sci-fi writer, and her most popular book to date is My Human Pet. So I just wanted to correct that. So we didn't get into the language of, well, what language on a spiritual level do we speak then? It must have been something spoken different than what you and I are speaking, different than what our elders before us are speaking, because how was it that the pimp, the prostitute, and the drug dealer was able to galvanize the hood? The people that they're killing and murdering every day, they was able to galvanize them. And then when you seen the dude, even in the underground, he was on the phone with his girl, with some chick, talking about, yeah, guess where I'm at, baby? Yeah, I'm in a laboratory. He got down there and he was chilling. Is that any indication that even if we're at war, this is what we're doing?
And that's what I was mentioning earlier. It's time to get serious about our condition, and it's time, because everything ain't funny. Everything ain't a joke. Everything ain't a photo op. Everything ain't an Instagram post. And the conditioning in which we're under dire situations in this country right now.
Exactly.
And we don't see it. And without the help of a few individuals who are yelling at the top of our lungs, dude, wake up, stop it. It's something, you know what I mean? It's a perpetual thing that's continuing to go and go and go. But I personally feel that the planet is shifting. You know what I mean? So there's going to be what me and you had to do 25, 30 years ago and read 75 books. I don't think the new generation has to do that. I think the information is coming in so fast where they can, you know what I'm saying, do what they do and be brought up to speed at a different pace. But too much information without the understanding, which is the best part of information, it's just information. And so these downloads are coming very fast for the new generation, but because they don't have a foundation in who we are collectively, it's just information. And that's another tactic by the enemy, because he knows that information is going to be readily available, but how we disseminate that information gives us an advantage to still keep people in the dark. You know what I mean? So we got this deep fake stuff going on where people are committing real crimes, but because now deep fake and the ability to clone voices and stuff like that, Now the information is there, but they just altered the information with a little bit of doubt, because now technology could have did that. So I'll get a bunch of people to say that's not so and so, that's technology, and so and so. And so these are the battles that we're fighting now, that the information is coming to us with a caveat that we still got to comb through. The whole Jamie Foxx thing mirrored reality. We were calling him a clone, and then he emerges on the day that the movie comes out to say basically he's not a clone. You know what I mean? And so how did that play into the movie, which was centered around cloning? And what are the odds that he would emerge at those moments? And you know, his name is Jamie Foxx, and we know a fox is clever and sly, and he's got the extra X at the end of his name.
Right.
So what we see now with Elon Musk changed his company to X. Malcolm X family is resuing. Malcolm X is in the news. Henry Lax with them manipulating the XX chromosome. So what is going on that has got us in this situation where we can't have a straight beeline to the truth, because now too much information is almost like having no information at all. And that's crazy shit, man.
That's really crazy. The overall arching theme of this this movie, they cloned Tyrone. In the age of ignorance, how would the revolutionary be viewed in this age of ignorance? You said it earlier. We could come with tons of information because we came up at a time where you had to read. In order for you to know whatever it is that you know, you had to sit at the feet of the elders, you had to read, and you had to live by the code. Now these young people don't have to do that. You understand what I'm saying? So now when we hear something, they can easily dismiss it and blame it on AI.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's the war that we are now fighting, or they can use their the trigger words that are in the system, in the software, to turn them against you or turn them away from you, or redirect, you know what I'm saying, their energy somewhere else. It's never been done this easy. And so I tell people why social media is a gift and a curse. You have to be well endowed in understanding the ins and outs of this to navigate through it, because they can easily take something and put it on your timeline. And now your real timeline and your artificial timeline are running concurrent. They're running together now. And so because you spend so much time in social media and you're interfacing with artificial intelligence at a grand level, things that weren't important in your real life are now important because you're digesting so much food from the artificial world. They can put something on the timeline, and if they don't like it, they can remove it from the timeline. And in a week's time, what we were talking about that we thought were important is no longer, doesn't even exist anymore. That's how crazy this thing has gotten.
I asked you earlier, where was the revolutionary in all of this movie? In the movie, there wasn't any, because they want us to get the idea towards the end of the movie that the pimp might be the revolutionary, the drug dealer or the prostitute. I'm looking at that like it's real life. Where's those firebrand revolutionaries? Where's that language? Where's that posturing? Where's that voice? Do you understand what I'm saying? Where is Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad's students coming up after him carrying on that work? Do you understand what I'm saying? Where are the firebrand revolutionaries that would give us an idea of the Mau Mau or Winnie Mandela? Or do you understand what I'm saying? I saw something on the internet the other day. Molena in South Africa galvanized thousands and thousands of people, and they was in the stadium chanting.
I saw that.
Some people they were saying they was chanting, "Kill the boar."
Yes.
I said, well, until we know what language they speaking, I wouldn't repeat that. I don't know what they chanting.
I don't know what they chanting, so I'm.
But I felt it.
Yes. And so this is the war that we're facing. It is an uphill battle constantly, because your own brothers and sisters will be the ones to attack you now. The revolutionary looks at it and goes, that is hard work. Even somebody who may get a revolutionary spirit, Like, I'm not all in agreement with what Kanye is going through, but he took a stand. A stand Professor Griff took 25 years ago, but that's besides the point. But he took a stand to say, it's going to cost me so and so, but I'm going to tell you, so you can't say you do not know who controls this, that. And he looked behind him, and there was nobody there to support him. The people he partied with, as long as he was busting down champagne, making dope beats for the video, they all there. The minute he decided to speak truth, because truth is expensive, he was by himself. Kyrie Irving, by himself. And so young people see this and go, damn, I know the truth, but at what cost can I deliver the truth? And at what cost in assimilation that is now truly being ran by artificial intelligence, can I deliver the truth and have the same effect that I had on the corner as a grassroots revolutionary when we moved and mobilized? Sure, there might have been an agent here or two in the mix, but we mobilized differently, we moved differently, and we had more of a spirit of the people. And if our heroes now are a hustler, a pimp, and a prostitute, then the future is not bright for us at all.
Let me say one thing about the black woman who emerged as the real life manifestation of his mom, who was behind that door. They thought they had the sister brainwashed, and what did she do? Shout out to KT, the Arts Degree, and Brother Rich. The sister took off the fake hair, the wig, and you saw that the patterns of the cornrow mapped out the escape route, and she became herself and went to work.
Yes.
And she went to work. Shout out to the black woman. For real.
Absolutely. And people don't realize that the cornrows back in the days were maps. Like you said, road maps on how to follow the Northern Star if anybody did escape. So while Mama was braiding the hair, Mama was leaving out the map in case anybody wanted to get up out of here. We could just look at this kid's head. And so that represented that the map out of this is the black woman who wants to remove something from her consciousness.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's artificial and gets back to work. We can be okay and will be okay. And then every hustler is a mathematician. Malcolm X told you this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And once they truly understand, they only chose hustling, but the fact that they can get people to do something, that's a leadership role. You're just leading in the wrong direction.
Right, exactly. So she took off her synthetic self. She took off her shadow self. She took off the fake self and became herself, her natural self, and she was able to lead. So much so she worked together with the black man, with Slick Charles, to kill Nixon so they could continue that work. Like I said, shout out to the coming together of the unity of the black man and the black woman in the community to get the job done. Black Dot, any final words? And please give your Cash App again so they can support you on your platform.
Cash App is $ the Black Dot. You know, me and Malcolm, we on Urban X every Monday and Thursdays, 8 o'clock. I'm happy that we are having these discussions. Me and Griff are gonna get this ATM thing going, arm the masses.
Yep.
At least once or twice a month we get together, share some ideas, some concepts, some thoughts, and I'm looking forward to it, man.
All right, give thanks, man. How can they contact you? Where can they find you at? Give them the information again.
YouTube channel Urban X TV. I'm on Instagram, the Black Dot 1. I think that's what it is. Yes, the Black Dot with the number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Our Instagram is UrbanX_NYC, and that's what it is, man.
All right, cool. I gotta get off here because I gotta get prepared. So tonight, Dot, is the first time I'm going live with my Public Enemy DJ mashup on Twitch.
Whoa.
It's Welcome to the Rebel Dome. All right, Professor Griff of Public Enemy, welcome to the Rebel Dome. DJ mashup. I'm doing a whole Public Enemy set, mashed up with some other things on Twitch tonight at 9 o'clock. It's www.twitch.tv/Griff the Enemy. You got to download Twitch right now in order to see it. I put it up on my Facebook page, but I'm going to send it to you, Black Dot, so you can tune in. Love you to life, good bro. You already know that, man.
You already know, man. Peace and blessings to the family.
I give thanks. Likewise to yours. Salute, man. Peace, good bro.
Peace.
All right, peace. All right, that was the Black Dot. I want to definitely want to thank him very, 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 very much for coming on. Like I said, we're going to do this once or twice a month under the banner of Arm the Masses, because we definitely need to arm the masses. You understand what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing that we can come together and have these kind of discussions. I want to thank everybody for their comments. I want to thank everybody for their energy. I really appreciate that. Some of y'all I didn't get a chance to get to, because I had pages and pages of notes that I had taken. I didn't even get to half of it. Shout out to Quan. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you, Quan, for rocking with us. And once again, thank Black Dot. I'm going to see y'all in about an hour. Make sure y'all download Twitch, the app, and check me out. Welcome to the Rebel Dome, my DJ mashup on Twitch tonight at 9 o'clock in about an hour. I love y'all to like this, Professor Griff. Make sure y'all go and y'all purchase You Are the Song That You Sing. All right. Put up my website, Quan, if you can. www.professorgriff.me. Please support the cause, fam. All right. Purchase You Are the Song That You Sing so we can get book 2 out. I really appreciate everyone. Much gratitude. Thank y'all very much for supporting everything that we do here on Serious Minds RN TV. And once again, salute to my good brother, the Black Dot. And I'm going to see y'all in a few minutes. All right. My number is 678-557-2919. 678-557-2919. Once again, 678-557-2919. Text me if you want some info. All right. Want to know the things we're doing. I think Labor Day weekend, me and Soleil will be in LA. All right. We'll be in LA speaking at Leimert Park. All right. It's Professor Griff. Love y'all to life. All right. Peace. 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 Peace.